A case. Correction. Very good case. Check. A screen? No, make that a fully functional monitor. Put it on a case. Check. How much? $120. You gotta be kidding me. Looking for affordable Windows or Office keys? Look no further, I got you covered. Head over to scdkey.com, pick your Windows edition, use my discount code LE25 to get a 25% on any Windows or Office products. Once you complete your order, after a few seconds you will receive your code. In Windows, go to Settings, there should be an Activate Windows prompt at the bottom. Click that, enter your code and wait for Windows to finish activation. To check the activation status, use the command prompt with the command slmgr.vbs/xpr and you should receive a notification that the machine is permanently activated. Once again, use code LE25 at scdkey.com. Well, it is possible. This, guys, is a Jonsbo D41 mesh screen case. You get the idea why it's called that. It's a mid-tower case, but on a more compact size because it utilizes a few clever ideas for component placement inside. And of course, it has a fully functional monitor on it, which you can use for various things. To get the idea of what we are dealing with here, the case is 205mm wide, 407 tall and 452mm deep. The screen size is 8 inches in diagonal. It's a fairly compact size for sure, but it can accept ATX boards and micro ATX boards, GPUs up to 330mm or 400, and this depends on one thing only, which I will show you later. The CPU cooler support is up to 168mm or wider RTX 40 cards if that is easier for you. Alright, the front of the case is completely mesh, but the top section is kind of divided. Of course, this is for the LCD screen that you can fit here, and to be honest, this is the main selling point of this case. But other than that, the quality of the case is actually pretty good, which surprised me a lot. The front I/O is fairly decent, power button, one USB 3.0 port, headphone mic jack combo and one USB-C port only. But behind this mesh panel is something completely different than most of the other cases. This case uses a front PSU mount system which is adjustable, so you can position the PSU up or down if needed, depending on the PSU length, of course, and this is why I said that the GPU clearance is from 330 to 400mm, because it depends on the PSU position. Of course, the PSU takes fresh air and exhausts it immediately up, and if you have a fan up there, it will just exhaust it all out from the case. So have no worries about the PSU position. There is also a space for one 120mm fan in the front below the PSU, given the fact that you mount the PSU in the upmost position. The installation of the included LCD screen could not be more simple. Remove the upper mesh part of the case, there is a hole in the upper right corner of the case. This is actually to pull the monitor, HDMI and USB power cables and literally just pop the screen in. It will click in there and it's securely held by pegs. The screen has only 3 buttons on it, plus and minus for brightness and the power on and off button. That is pretty much it regarding the screen control. The screen is 8 inches in diagonal with a resolution of 1280 by 800 pixels. For the various stat displays you can use the AIDA64 sensor panel option. There is an option to download user-made presets on their website. I will leave a link for you guys in the description if you want to download some, but you can always make your own from scratch, which includes a bit of more time and dedication, but end results are only limited by your imagination. The side glass panel is also held by pegs, so getting inside of the case is an easy task, just pull it towards you to gain access to the interior. There is a plastic bag with all the screws here, and you can notice a power cable pass-through for the PSU in the front. To hide all the cable mass from the PSU, Jonsbo used a metal cover here in the front that not only serves to hide the PSU, but gives the case a touch of unique look and rigidity as well. So once removed, you can gain access to the PSU cage. Mounting a PSU here is an easy task, and you can of course position the PSU in 4 different heights. There is also a removable HDD drive cage in the bottom. The cage supports 2 3.5-inch drives and 1 2.5-inch drive on top as well. If we remove this hard drive cage, we gain access for 3 120mm fans in the bottom or 360mm radiator, but if you decide to leave it in place, you are limited to 2 120mm fans or 2 140mm fans in that case. Around the motherboard tray we have cutouts for all the cables. The holes are present in all places where it matters, but none of them have rubber grommets. Since we got that screen and case remained in that $120 category, something had to be sacrificed. That is why this case also doesn't come with any pre-installed fans. Speaking of, more fans can be installed up top and on the rear side. The rear side supports 120mm fan with sliding rails to adjust the fan up or down if needed. Up top there is no flimsy mesh filter, case structure acts as a dust filter, which I welcome. 3 120mm fans or 2 140mm fans can be installed here, or up to 360mm radiator support. Basically, airflow in this case is actually not sacrificed because of the screen in the front. You get the chimney style cooling, which is pretty nice for the GPU as well. And yes, I did not install bottom fans yet. The rear side of the case has a power pass-through up top, classic IO shield hole, 120mm fan support and 7 PCI slots, one of them with 2 holes. This is for the screen cables to pass out to the back so they can be plugged to the GPU. The back panel removal is easy, captive thumb screws, and here we have some interesting things as well. There are 2 SSD caddies here, but also raceway channels for cables that you need to use since there is no space between the motherboard tray and the back panel. But luckily everything fits here without any issues thanks to zip tie points that are scattered all over the case. There are also front IO panel cables here, regular power and LED connectors, HD audio connector, USB-C and USB 3.0 connectors. On the bottom of the case there are 4 large rubber feet and a magnetic dust filter which spans across the whole bottom area. It is removable from the side of the case, giving you easy access for maintenance later and cleaning. And once this filter is removed, you can see fan mounting holes, and this is where we can also remove the inner hard drive cage to gain access for the third fan placement. The quality of this case absolutely fits that $120 category. I have no remarks in terms of quality. I am actually surprised how good it is. Yes, there are some things that are missing, like the rubber grommets, but I can live without them if you give me the screen in exchange. Speaking of, you can take the screen off the case and use it as a desk monitor panel, or a second monitor if you want. It comes with these metal feet that allows it to be safely tilted and stand on its own on the desk. But what about the performance, the temperatures, of course, airflow, noise? You saw that I did not mount bottom fans on purpose to see if it will affect temperatures, primarily for the GPU. And yes, it does. Trust me, use at least 2 bottom 120mm fans. I used AMD Ryzen 5 7600X CPU here, which is hot by design, and Intel Arc A750 that ran at 50 degrees at idle without bottom fans, which is absolutely unacceptable. Load was above 74 degrees, so I decided to mount additional 2 fans at the bottom, which immediately helped me with GPU idle to be reduced to a more reasonable 38 to 40 degrees. Load immediately dropped to mid-60s, maxing out at 65 degrees. The CPU is cooled with a Deepcool AK620 digital CPU cooler. I already did a review of the regular version of this cooler, so this is basically just a variant with LCD screen on top that displays your temperature. And yes, screen on the CPU cooler, screen in the front. Too bad I have no screen on the GPU to wrap it all up. But without bottom fans, my idle temps were 48 to 50 degrees and load maxing out at 85 because of the CPU design. Adding 3 fans at the bottom reduced idle temps to about 42 degrees on average, but again load remained the same because of the design, but without ever worrying about clock reduction in return. So adding at least 2 bottom fans helps a lot. The front fan is not going to affect anything, so you might as well not use it there, but you can use 3 fans in the bottom. Noise-wise, around 45 decibels at full load, which is quite nice. I used the Lian Li SL Infinity fans, which are practically inaudible, but most of the noise came from the GPU itself. The idle is around 32 decibels, so virtually silent. To sum things up, I am very positively surprised by the quality of this case. Jonsbo is not that much present on the market, but I am glad they are making a debut in style with the new cases. This model is available in black color as well and without the screen as well, also with a solid panel in the front. The screen is also available as a separate accessory. Speaking of the screen, it looks like it's the strongest selling point of this case. I mean, it looks awesome, can't deny the fact, but I like that the performance and overall quality was not sacrificed in return. So for the $120, go for it if you liked compact systems and that gorgeous front LCD screen that you can customize to your liking. This case easily gets a solid 9 out of 10 from me, point taken for no rubber grommets and no pre-installed fans. But who cares about them, you get a screen in return. Thanks for watching guys, subscribe to the channel if you like the content, like and share the video, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Bye!